Okay everyone, so this beauty behind me is the 2020 Mazda 3. Now this was completely updated in 2019, so for 2020 there's no massive changes, but it's still an awesome car, so we're gonna check it out. Let's go ahead and get started. All right, let's go ahead and check out the 2020 Mazda 3 Sedan. Now this one as is fully decked out, so this is around $30,000, and yes, that's a lot for a compact. However, I will recommend this every single time over a Corolla, over a Civic. The only reason I would get a Civic or a Corolla is if I were going for the Type R version, or with the Corolla if I were going for the hybrid version. Both of those are far better than this in their respective areas, but as an overall package, this is one of the best that you can buy. Now, let's talk about this color. This is called Machine Gray Metallic, and this is an awesome color, debuted on the CX-9, and it is so liquidy. It looks like melted metal. It is crazy, and you can see all the flake and all the detail in it, and apparently Mazda actually puts black flakes in this, and what those black flakes do is they just make the contrast of this more defined, and it's a really cool thing for sure. Now the biggest difference between the sedan and the hatchback is you get a chrome lip on the sedan. You're going to get a dark one on the hatchback to make it look sportier, but I like the chrome. As you guys can see when I walk around, it glimmers and glistens, and it's such a beautiful look. And then as you get a little bit closer, it has all this detail right here, your Mazda logo. Coming to the headlights, you have full LED lights on here. They look awesome at night. You have this halo ring that's going to be on as you're driving during the day. That looks really good. Now moving up, hood lines are very simplistic. You just have a line to the left, to the right. Then as we move to the wheels, you are going to have these 18-inch wheels. I know because of the straight spoke, it does make it look bigger than it is, so it looks more like a 19 when you look at it from a side profile. I do wish they had more and better wheel options, but this is still a classic good wheel design. I mean, it looks great, and from a side profile, it definitely fits this car. I think I just wish it had something with a little bit more flair to it. Then as we move back, you can see how that line in the front is going to flow all the way down here, and then you have another one that starts right there at the shoulder. Interesting part is as this line goes down, there's actually no more line once you get past here. This is all just folding of the metal basically, and what that does is it gives it this flowing look to make it look like the line is still going, which is pretty neat. Now moving to the back, I do like these tail lights. They look great at night. They have a really cool look to them. Full LEDs. You don't have a single incandescent bulb on this car, so that's really cool to see. Even your reverse lights, turn signals, all that are going to be full LEDs. And then during the day, it has a nice, slightly concept car look to it. I do like that. All of your badges located back here. You also have a button located underneath there to open the trunk. And then you have your exhaust. So let's go ahead and take a listen to that 4-cylinder. All right, so here's your key for the Mazda 3. Now this key was actually introduced with this generation Mazda 3, and it's just gonna be hard plastic. It's nothing too fancy, but you have your Mazda logo, and you're gonna have your buttons here on the side, your lock, your unlock, trunk release, panic right there, and you have a physical key to get in and out if this battery dies or if the battery in the car dies. You also have touch sensitive areas here, so if I put my finger there, that's gonna lock it. There's a touch pad right behind there, and you just put your hand there, that's gonna unlock it. So let's go ahead and check out the inside. Okay, let's go ahead and hop inside of the Mazda 3. Now this is going to have the white interior, and as you guys can see, it looks incredible. Now let's go ahead and look at the door. So right here on the door, we are going to have pretty good material. So here it's gonna be soft touch up here. You have this aluminum accent, which is going to run all along here into the door handle. You have your Bose speaker right here, and it does have this like brushed aluminum look to it, which is really nice. Your door lock is going to be located right there. Mirror controls with a lot of piano black, and you do have this pass-through area right here. Storage space is pretty good. Now you do have this Mazda 3 door sill that is going to light up at night, so I do like that little detail. All of your seating controls off to the side. The leather quality is very good. Perforations in the middle, and the perforations are going to run all along the middle of the seat. And then coming off to the side, you're going to have some more buttons here. So you have buttons right up top for your safety systems, traction control, memory seats, 2 settings, trunk release, and you even have a little cubby right there, so that way you can put something in there and brighten this up just a bit. But yeah, so that is pretty nice. Let's go ahead and hop in though, and we'll check out the rest. Okay, so let's go ahead and shut the door on 3. Nice and quiet, nice solid shut. And then here's a wider look at the interior for you guys. Now to start the car, it's really simple. You're gonna go foot in the brake. This is going to turn on green, just like that. And then you just hit that to start. That's all there is to it. So, looking at the steering wheel, you're going to have a really nice wheel, obviously fully leather wrapped. You have stitching located right there. This aluminum accent, but it is just going to be plastic. Mazda logo. You have these really nice tactile buttons. They have a nice clicky feel to them. You have adaptive cruise over here. All of your media and info to scroll through. Your middle screen located right there. As we come back here, you're going to have paddle shifters for your 6-speed auto, automatic wipers, automatic lights over here to the left, with your high beam located on the very end of the stalk. There's a button right back there. We already saw all this over here, so let's go ahead and talk about this screen. It's really nice. You have a digital display located right in the middle, physical tack to the left, and physical needles over to the right that show your fuel and water temp. Now using that info button on the steering wheel, I'm going to hit that. That's going to scroll me through these different menus here. Just make sure we can focus right here. It's all pretty simple, and there's really only 3-4 different screens that you can scroll through, and that's pretty much it. Now you can change what the outside of the gauges say, but you have to go into the main screen to do that. Now moving back, you are going to have that leather, and that's going to once again fold into this area here. A really nice design. You do have a head-up display located right up here. Okay, so now moving to your screen. Now this is no longer a touch screen, so even though I'm in park, nothing is going to work, and you can only use it using this control wheel located down here. Obviously Mazda says that's for safety reasons, and you do get used to it. I've driven a few of the newer Mazda products with the same setup, like the new CX-30 for example, and it's the exact same setup. You get used to it after about 2 to 3 days. Either way, it's great. You do have Apple CarPlay on here, so that is nice to see. And the system itself is pretty intuitive. It's very easy to use. The sound system on here is great. This Bose sound system is actually really, really good. So kudos to Mazda for that. And as you come down here, you have more white leather adorning the dash, all soft touch up here. You have this single strip of aluminum that's going to run down there, 2 vents, dual zone climate control, heated seats for both the driver and passenger. Now as we come down, you are going to have a USB located right up there. I've got a Red Bull there, storage space, cup holders, nice solid shifter with aluminum off to the side, and then leather wrapped. Throw it into reverse. There we go. You're gonna have your backup camera. You don't have a 360-degree camera, and the resolution could be a lot better, but you have a backup camera nonetheless. Sport mode, very simple. Hit up to turn on, pull back to turn off. So that is on, off, on, off. Moving back, there's your control wheel, left, right, and then you have your corresponding buttons around that. Volume, favorites button, electronic parking brake, automatic brake hold. All this leather located right here. You pull this back and lift up. You have a wireless charging pad. You're going to have another USB, a 12 volt, and then just, you know, storage area if you want to throw things in there. Glove box here, though it is not lockable. Frameless mirror, auto dimming. You do not have home link up here. As a matter of fact, you don't have home link in here at all. And I've actually never noticed that before. So coming up, you are going to have LED lights, however. So there are your lights. Moonroof. And yeah, that's pretty much going to be it. So let's go ahead and check out the back seat. Okay, so hopping in the back of the Mazda 3. Now, headroom is just adequate for me being 6 feet tall. My hair is up. If I were to sit upright, my head is like maybe 1 inch from actually touching. I barely have any room above my head. So that is the negative about sitting back here. I believe in the Civic and the Corolla, you have a little bit more headroom, but it's not much. Now, sitting behind myself, being 6 feet tall, my knees are touching the seat. So backseat room back here isn't class leading by any means. My feet do fit under the seat though, so that is great. The seats sit pretty high up, so I can easily slide my feet underneath without them getting crammed. You have a pretty tall hump here, so I wouldn't suggest putting a third person here. I wouldn't suggest it unless you absolutely have to. And then folding down this middle armrest, very soft. You have some nice deep cup holders right here. And when you get in, you're also going to have these illuminated Mazda 3 door sills, same as the front. So that is a nice detail to see. Now, shutting the door, super solid shut. Same details as the front. You're gonna have soft touch up here, soft touch, decent amount of cubby space right back here. And yeah, it's a pretty good place to be. So let's go ahead and check out the trunk. All right, it's coming to the back of the Mazda 3. Now there's a button right underneath here. You're gonna push that. That's gonna open this right up. And you have a pretty good amount of trunk space. You guys can see the cubic feet here on the screen. And you can also fold the rear seats down to give you more space. Now, you have a carpeted floor back here. And the cool thing is that even the Mazda 3 logo on here is like this aluminum, and it looks really cool. Underneath here, you're gonna have a full-size spare. And yeah, it's a pretty good amount of space. You have a little grab handle here. You can also fold the seats down by pulling these little triggers located here. That's pretty much gonna be it for the back. Let's go ahead and see what's under the hood. Okay, so under the hood of the Mazda 3, there's one engine option. It's gonna be this 2.5 liter Skyactiv G 4-cylinder engine. Now this is gonna make 186 horsepower, 186 pound-feet of torque, and those are pretty good numbers. And the cool thing is that this engine has been in production since the first gen CX-5. They introduced it in that vehicle, at least here in the US, and it's been in there ever since. So this has a pretty good history. It's been in multiple cars like the Mazda 6, it's in the CX-30, and then you have it here. So this is a tried and tested engine, as well as the 6-speed automatic. This has been around for a while, and it's proven to be a pretty good setup. So reliability is actually pretty good in these, and then your fuel economy figures are great, even though this is the all-wheel drive model. You can also get this in just front-wheel drive. But either way, let's go ahead and get this on the road and see how it does. All right, everyone, so driving the 2020 Mazda 3 all-wheel drive sedan. Now, in terms of comfort, I know the previous generation Mazdas were not really known for having quiet, comfortable, like ride quality. This is a lot more improved in terms of the road noise. Road noise is significantly better than the previous generation. And ride quality is good despite the torsion beam out rear. Now, if you don't know a lot about suspension, if you don't know the difference between independent suspension and torsion beam, in this situation, I would say don't worry too much about it. This doesn't take any noticeable hit from the seat of my pants in terms of ride comfort. This week I had two vehicles. I had this and I had this Mini Cooper electric, which is fully independent. well known for having sporty driving characteristics, and I really can't tell a difference between the two, aside from the fact that the Mini's lower and smaller. So this still rides very well. It was just a more affordable alternative for Mazda to go. I don't really know if there's any other engineering reasons for doing that, but either way, just know it rides fine, and it is a comfortable ride. Nothing has changed there. It's more quiet than the previous gen. The steering is good. I actually do wish it had a little bit more resistance to it. It still feels a little light, and the interesting part is that there are some situations when it feels heavier. Now this does also have G Vectoring Control Plus, which is effectively going to use the engine's torque to continuously keep weight on the drive wheels, which are the front wheels, and it does all that based off of throttle, steering input, and it all works into the background. You can't feel it working, but what you do notice is that this has a very precise characteristic whenever you drive it. Wherever you point it, it tends to go exactly where you're thinking that you want it to go, which is always a great characteristic to have in a car. Now, in terms of visibility, it's great. Good size mirrors, good view out of the back. Blind spots are almost non-existent, so if I were to make a lane change, there we go, and easy. You have blind spot monitoring, all of your safety control systems, adaptive cruise control. I absolutely adore this head-up display. It's one of my favorite head-up displays, right up there, perfectly on par with the best from BMW. Anyone else that has a great quality head-up display. It's crisp, it's easy to read, the brightness is great, the font is just instantly recognizable as being just a very easy to read font. And yeah, it's a great head-up display. The dash is low, so you can see it well. I know with the Mini SE that I had, the electric one, it has the pop-up screen that the Mazda used to have, so I'm actually glad to see that you have the traditional projecting it onto the windshield head-up display. Now, taking that corner there, it did a really good job. The only thing is that you do have to turn the wheel quite a bit, so you guys can see my arms are almost pretty much crossed right there. So the steering ratio is not the tightest, but you know, this isn't a sports car, it's just a sporty everyday driver. Now, since we're here at a stoplight, I'm gonna go ahead and throw this into sport mode. Looking around, I mean, everything's great. This is right at my hands. Armrests are good. I can rest both of my arms right here. And yeah, it's good. So let's go ahead and throw it into, let's leave it into automatic, and then we'll throw it into manual. Now, when you're in sport, it responds very, very fast for a 6-speed auto. So if I were to floor it right now, it kicks in really quickly. So that is good. The only time you do notice the faults of having a 6-speed is going to be when you throw it into its manual mode, because in automatic mode, it kicks down a lot faster than when you're shifting gears, because when you're shifting gears, you're expecting that faster shift, and with automatics nowadays having such good shift times, this has definitely fallen behind. So downshifts are good, but the upshifts, so wide open throttle upshift, click, then shift, click, then shift, click, then shift. So it's quick, but I think that Mazda could easily make it way faster just by adding 2 more gears. Just 8-speed automatic. Once again, there's nothing wrong with this 6-speed. It's going to hold up well. It's reliable. It's been tested over the years. But I think having those shorter gear ratios at the bottom and then saving those taller gears for cruising and things like that would make this a lot more engaging and really take advantage of this horsepower. Because the power is adequate, it's fine, but I think because the gears are so tall, it leaves you wanting for a lot more. So if I were in regular mode and I'm driving, I mean, I have to go half throttle just to get me up this little hill here. But when you're in sport, oh, it's completely different. Sport is how I would want this to drive normally. You just have the perfect amount of power always available to you. But the downside is that it's pretty high in the revs. You're at like 4,000 RPM, just you know, getting a quarter on the throttle. So it downshifts a ton, and there are some times I've even caught it in second gear going up a hill, which, I mean, that's pretty high, and it's at like 5,000 RPM. So it does have to rev very high, and I think I would rather this have either better gearing, more gears, or maybe a little bit more horsepower. So that's really my only complaint. Everything else is great. But either way, that's gonna wrap up driving impressions. It's a great driving vehicle. It still drives incredibly well. Handling is good. It's not going to be sports car handling, but it's fun for a daily driver. Well, everyone, that's going to wrap up my review of the Mazda 3. I still think it's an awesome competitor in the compact car segment, and if you want something that just feels a little bit more expensive than the competition, this is going to be it. It's great. It has a simplistically beautiful interior, equally beautiful exterior. It drives incredibly well. It's pretty reliable, and for the price, I really think it is a solid buy. Let me know what you guys think. Comment below. If you're new to the channel, I'd love to have you guys subscribe. Click the bell if you want to be alerted, as well as the subscribe button, obviously, and then like this video to let me know if it helped you. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next review.